dive into the profound wisdom of Buddhism as we explore the three marks of existence. In the vast ocean of Buddhist teachings, one concept has been pivotal in shaping the understanding of life and existence as we know it. This concept, known as the three marks of existence, provides a framework that allows us to perceive our life experiences with a heightened sense of clarity and wisdom. The three marks of existence in Buddhism are those aspects that define our reality and our perception of it. They are the lenses through which we view our existence, our experiences, and indeed our very selves. These marks are not mere philosophical constructs, but rather they are truths that can be experienced directly and personally. In fact, understanding these marks is considered essential for progressing on the path towards enlightenment. So, what are these three marks? They are impermanence, suffering, and non-self. The first mark, impermanence, or anicca in Pali, is the understanding that all conditioned things are in a constant state of flux. Nothing remains the same, everything is subject to change and decay. The second mark, suffering or dukkha, is not just about physical or emotional pain. It's a much broader concept that refers to the unsatisfactoriness and imperfection of life. Lastly, the third mark, non-self or anatta, is the concept that there is no permanent, unchanging self or soul within us. What we consider I, or me, is merely a collection of changing physical and mental components. These concepts might seem overwhelming or even somewhat disconcerting at first, but they are not meant to be pessimistic or depressing. Instead, they are meant to provide a realistic view of life that can help us let go of our attachments, and hence, lead us to liberation and inner peace. Ready to delve deeper into these concepts? Stay tuned. Impermanence, or anicca in Pali, is the first mark of existence. This Buddhist principle dictates that all conditioned things, whether they're material or psychological, are in a constant state of flux. Nothing is permanent, nothing stays the same. From the fleeting beauty of a cherry blossom to the ever-changing course of a river, everything is subject to change and decay. Anicca encourages us to look beyond the surface and see the world as it truly is, a place of constant transformation. It's like watching the seasons change, each one giving way to the next in an endless cycle. Just as spring blossoms into summer, then fades into autumn and winter, so too do all things in life ebb and flow. But why is this understanding so important? Well, it's simple. By comprehending the transient nature of everything around us, we can learn to appreciate the present moment. We grasp that every joy, every pain, every encounter, and every parting is temporary. This realization can help us to navigate the unpredictable waters of life with grace and acceptance. Think about it. When we understand that nothing is permanent, we can truly appreciate what we have while we have it. We can cherish each moment of happiness, knowing it's fleeting. We can endure each moment of pain, knowing it too will pass. It's not about living in fear of change, but rather embracing it. It's about learning to dance in the rain instead of waiting for the storm to pass. It's about realizing that the only constant in life is change itself. Anicca is not a bleak outlook on life, but rather a tool for living it fully. It's a reminder to take nothing for granted, to appreciate the beauty in every moment, and to adapt to the inevitable changes that come our way. Impermanence reminds us to cherish every moment. Next, we move to the second mark of existence. Dukkha, often translated as suffering, is the second mark of existence. This is a term that resonates deeply within the teachings of Buddhism, embodying a concept that is both simple and profound. Dukkha is a Pali word that is often translated into English as suffering. But this translation doesn't quite capture the full essence of the term. You see, dukkha doesn't just refer to the overt physical and mental suffering that we all experience from time to time. It also touches on a more subtle level of dissatisfaction that permeates our existence. It's the unease we feel when things don't go as planned, the frustration that bubbles up when our desires aren't fulfilled, and the nagging sense of incompleteness that often lurks in the background of our lives. Buddhism teaches us that dukkha arises from our inability to see the world as it really is. We cling to things that are impermanent, we crave what we don't have, and we resist what we cannot change. This constant struggle against the nature of reality is the root of our suffering. But here's the good news. Understanding dukkha can lead us to the path of cessation of suffering. By acknowledging the existence of dukkha, we can begin to unravel the causes of our dissatisfaction. We start to realize that much of our suffering is self-created, born out of our attachments, aversions, and delusions. By developing a deep understanding of dukkha, we can gradually learn to let go of these unhelpful habits of mind. We can cultivate acceptance, contentment, and clarity. We can learn to navigate the ups and downs of life with equanimity. And ultimately, we can find a sense of peace and liberation that transcends the inherent unsatisfactoriness of worldly existence. Dukkha, then, is not just a doctrine of despair. It's a beacon of hope. It's a guide that points us towards the path of liberation. It's a reminder that while suffering is a part of life, it doesn't have to define us. Understanding dukkha opens the door to liberation. Now let's move to the third and final mark of existence. Anatta, or non-self, is the third mark of existence. This profound concept is a cornerstone in the teachings of Buddhism, and it invites us to challenge our conventional understanding of self. At its core, anatta questions the idea of a permanent and unchanging self. We often think of ourselves as static beings, with a core personality that remains consistent throughout our lives. However, anatta suggests a different perspective. It proposes that what we perceive as self is actually a collection of ever-changing physical and mental elements, known as the five aggregates. These include form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Now you may wonder, why does this matter? Well, the understanding of anatta can lead to a sense of freedom and ease. By recognizing that our self is not a fixed entity, we can start to let go of rigid self-identifications and labels. We become free to evolve, to change, and to grow, unencumbered by the confines of a static self-image. Moreover, understanding anatta helps us to reduce suffering. It aids us in letting go of the attachment to a self, which is often the root of many forms of pain and dissatisfaction. When we stop clinging to a sense of self, we can begin to experience life in a more open, flexible, and peaceful way. Anatta isn't about denying our experiences or negating our individuality. Instead, it encourages us to view ourselves as dynamic and interconnected beings, constantly shaped by our experiences, thoughts, and interactions. So, in essence, anatta is a concept that invites us to see beyond our limited self-view, to embrace the fluidity of our existence, and to experience the liberating potential of understanding our true nature. Anatta invites us to see beyond our limited self-view. Now, let's wrap up our exploration of the three marks of existence. We've journeyed through the three marks of existence, each offering a unique perspective on life. We began with anicca, or impermanence, a fundamental truth that reminds us nothing in life is permanent. Every moment is fleeting, every circumstance transient. This understanding can help us to appreciate the beauty of the present and to let go of our attachment to things, people, and experiences. Then we delved into dukkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction. This is not to say that life is filled with suffering, but rather, it acknowledges the inevitable challenges we face in life. By accepting the existence of dukkha, we can develop resilience and learn to navigate through life's storms with equanimity. Lastly, we explored anatta, the concept of non-self. This challenges our deeply ingrained belief in a fixed, unchanging self. By understanding anatta, we can start to see ourselves as a dynamic process, constantly changing and evolving, rather than a static entity. This can free us from the constraints of ego and self-centered thinking, opening us up to a more compassionate and interconnected way of being. These three concepts, anicca, dukkha, and anatta, form the core understanding of Buddhist philosophy. They offer us a different lens to view our life and the world around us, challenging us to question our assumptions and to see the world as it truly is. But more than just philosophical concepts, they can be applied to our everyday life, helping us to cultivate mindfulness, acceptance, and compassion. As we close this journey through the three marks of existence, remember that understanding these concepts is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process of learning and unlearning, of seeing and re-seeing. It's a path that calls for patience, curiosity, and courage. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the three marks of existence in Buddhism. Remember, the journey to understanding is a path well worth taking.